Okay guys, welcome back. So this time what we're going to be working towards is adding more food that spawns, so different kinds of food, similarly matching to the resource bar. We're going to add a notification box so that when the player has gotten the specific amount of seagrass to win, they'll be told to go to the beach. They'll know when to do it. We'll have a win screen as well, so that when they complete when they get enough seagrass, it'll take them to a different scene, and we're going to add more food pickups for the resource bar to actually update so they can see those changing values. Right, let's begin. So a minor change here, we're just going to, instead of 0.5, we're going to have 0.1 for the speed, so when they pick up plants it's not as crazy a change in speed. So we're just going to kind of copy and paste the things that we've already done for the seagrass for the plant, and we're just going to, like I said, copy and paste a lot of those things because we kind of want the same effect. We want to be able to get the numbers, we want to be able to get the same values and stuff in the same way. So I'm just adding a bunch of integers for the crabs and for the different resources. I also changed the amount of seagrass you need to win to 5 because there'll be a lot less seagrass and rock spawn. There'll be a lot more variation of spawning. And just as you can see, I'm just copying and pasting and then renaming a lot of the things just to save time. So now I do a little bit of renaming. So I rename the plant to seagrass. I changed the time on the countdown for the hunger to a bit longer to give me a bit more time to find the seagrass, since again it will be less common. Fix a quick issue with the text there. Then I seemingly get a little bit lost on what I was doing. I decided to change that to 10 instead. And then I quickly have a little bit of, I quickly changed the speed of the whale. We're just going to call the main enemy the whale for now. And then I put a reminder in the hunting script, or the detect range, just to remind me that that's going to be a icon later on to remind the player that the whale is currently resting and not to get too close to him. Almost like a danger icon. After that, I lock the page, the inspector, so that I'm able to move the text over. I do a little bit of renaming, same as I've done with the seagrass, so that I'm able to pick it all up. Then I play around with the detection range. Make it a little bit larger so that they can chase the player. Again, have a little bit of play around with the edge radius, which doesn't really make too much difference. Have a quick go of it to see if it actually is okay. Next, I want to create a notification for the player to tell them when they've actually gained enough seagrass to actually complete the game and head to the beach. Call it something very simple. It's just a notification. I just call it a win tab, just to alert the player that they can actually go to the beach and win. Once I've done that, I head to the script and I set it all up so that I can get a reference to it. And then what I decide to do is I use the set active So once I reach the right amount of items, I'll set that to true, and when the game starts it'll be false. So currently it's not visible when the game starts. And as you can see, it's working. So next thing I want to do is I want to create a new scene for when I win. Rather than the game just restarting, it's at the moment it's not able to really tell us if we've actually won or not. So I create a new scene with a canvas, add a bit of text in just to tell me that I've won. Save it, give it a bit of a play, it's all working, no problems. Go back to my original one and then set it up, change the load so instead it's loading the main scene, I want it to load the win scene. I start adding a few tabs, just like I did with the plan. I add a bunch of new tags for all of our new resources. Once that's done, I add a bunch more collisions, exactly the same as the seagrass. Everything's very similar, I don't have a whole lot to say. After that's done, it's give it a test. Now there is another way of doing this. You could always just use instead of detecting collision, you can calculate its distance from the player. I do that later with something else. As what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going to create all the prefabs for the new food, the new resources, so that I can start collecting them and picking them up. I'm setting all the tags so that they're correct, and then creating the prefabs. Then I add a bunch. I increase the size of the array so that I can add these new objects to the spawning, and then I also add some rocks in because there isn't actually enough room. So I'd increase the size, add the rocks in, and now we should get a much more diverse spawning. It should look a little bit more interesting. I add the win scene to the build settings as well, because obviously you'll get an error if you end up winning. You won't actually load the win until it's actually built. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm adding it to the build settings. Give it a save. And try it out. Now I was a little bit quiet in a lot of places in this video because there's not a whole lot there's not a whole lot of unique things that's going on. A lot of the things I've already done. It's just I'm implementing it on a new food or a new resource. So it's not really adding too much. A lot of things we've already done, we've already kind of discussed. So a lot of times in this video I've been a bit more quiet. This will be happening probably in the future. It'll be happening maybe a bit more often when I'm covering certain things that I've already covered before. Right now I'm giving it a proper test to see how quickly the whale is. Am I able to find seagrass quick enough? Because right now the seagrass is the only way to win. So I'm trying to figure out if I can actually find some, if there's enough spawn, and do I need specific spawn points for the seagrass? If that is even going to be the way to win this game, and maybe you need a combination of items to win. So I'm just testing that out. I'm also testing how long it takes for me to actually get away from it, because there is a range and I am quicker than the whale. I'm pretty pleased with how this is going. I think it's working pretty well. So there we go. Once I got 5 seagrass, which is what I've set it back to, I can head to the beach and it loads the scene. So yeah, things are going pretty well. As I said, there'll be times in the video where I might just be quiet and just let you see what's going on. Next time we'll be looking at creating our own islands and turning them into prefabs instead of using tile maps. As I've said in the past, I don't like tile maps too much. I think they're very restrictive. I prefer having our islands as prefabs so that we can just randomly spawn them and control their spawns, and possibly even instantiate them in our own scripts. So that's what we'll be looking at next time.